everyone out tonight. Thank y'all so much for being here. Annalisa said make sure she had the mic that doesn't work, but we got to talking about Landry being in school for music, and I was like, Landry, we've never sung together in church ever, just to do a song, you know. And I said, Annalisa, I said, so let's just try to sing. We don't even know. So we came over here about 4:45 today, and this may be a train wreck, but our prayer for you is that it is well with your soul. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, through trials should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate, and hath shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when the face shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Freshman's in that one. I don't know what it is.
Y'all stand up. Let's sing.
Come on now.
Feet of Jesus, great is love, mercy and love. of Jesus, greatness of His mercy and love, at the feet of Jesus, we cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, majesty, holy is His majesty, is the Lamb. Majesty, worship His majesty. Unto Jesus be all glory, honor, and praise. Majesty, kingdom, authority, flow from His throne unto His own, His anthem praise. So exalt, lift up on high the name of Jesus. Magnify, come glorify Christ Jesus the King. Majesty, worship His majesty. Jesus who died, now glorified, King of all kings. Jesus who died, now glorified, King of all kings.
Amen. Be seated.
Come to share. Again, thank you so much for coming out. By the way, some of you may or may not know, but we have, if you need assisted with your hearing, we have headphones that are plugged directly into the board, so you hear what's coming through my microphone. So all you have to do is see Nick. I think there's about 4 sets of those, maybe 5 sets. Wives, don't come up and suggest your husband get one, okay? I'm just saying. But anyway, it's a good tool to have. We got them in. Today was our first service. And so if you hear someone ask or whatever, we do have that capability now. So our trip, a little bit about our trip. We left March the 6th, spent the night at a 5-star hotel, Memphis, the La Quinta Inn with the bars on the parking lot, and rolled in from there to Memphis Airport, flew out of Memphis Airport into Detroit to Korea to Cebu via a boat ride to Ormoc Bay up to Kananga, and then we began our mission. We got there Thursday night after leaving here Monday afternoon. We got there about Thursday, about 2 o'clock, unpacked, and then our mission started Friday morning. Friday was about a 15-hour day. That moved into Saturday. Saturday, we ended up doing mission work Saturday morning, then turned around and went from Saturday morning to, Saturday afternoon. We went down, bought some motorcycles, which if you've ever bought a motorcycle in the Philippines, no joke. We walk in at 11:54, Ted, tell them we want to buy 2 motorcycles, start pricing them. No joke. In the middle of the store at 12 o'clock, we're there. I've got cash. They put a sign on the door that says, sorry, we're closed for lunch. And they just walked off from us. I said, where'd everybody go? Lunchtime. You got to eat lunch. I'm like, are you serious? So then I said, well, we'll go run our other errands in the city. I went to there's a huge store, I get money transferred in, and I pull up, closed for lunch. I'm like, are you serious? So we did what most Americans did. We went to a restaurant and ate, and then waited on the stores to open back up. But I'm like, who tells people while they're visiting to buy 2 motorcycles, hey, man, you'll have to come back at 1 o'clock, lunch break, right? Christy, you should do that at the bank. It'd be great for your business, right? So then we left there. We went to 3 different cities preaching through basketball games. That was Saturday. Sunday we started with the 3 church services. Sunday afternoon we had baptism of those communities we went to and that people received the gospel in. We invited to come back Sunday for a meal and baptism. So we had 10 people come back for baptism Sunday and to receive a Bible in our community. Then Sunday evening, seemed like we did something Sunday evening. What we did? Oh, we packed for the pastor's conference, which began Monday. We did the pastor's conference Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday morning, got up, went to a little island called Kanagaman Island, spent the day there, come back, woke up Thursday, packed our bags, went to Cebu. I had a meeting in Cebu. We flew out about midnight that night. Back to Korea to Detroit, and then they told us our flight was canceled. We had no flight going to Memphis, so we started panicking, trying to figure out what to do, and said, hey, let's go. I found flights in Birmingham. Angelica and Caleb found flights in Huntsville, so we split up there, and we all arrived home sometime late Friday night, depending on if you stopped in Birmingham and ate supper, and went to Dunkin' Donuts. What was the Krispy Kreme green donuts. It was St. Patrick's Day. Sorry, donuts were green. And then we drove in and got in about 10:30, 11 o'clock Friday night. And so that's a little bit. But there's a whole bunch of chapters and God stories in between those times. And so what we're going to do, we're going to take about 10 minutes per person. Caleb's going to start us off, who is not dressed properly. He's supposed to look like this because this is what you had to wear in the Philippines. But we'll let Caleb start. But before we start our program, the heartbeat of all our churches, these are our children at the orphanage. These are our orphans. Listen at them sing. And it's just a small clip, and then Caleb will flip through a few of his pictures, and then he's got a couple stories. But this should be our theme for our churches here, because they get it. Surely we should get it. Sorry. Let's see. So I don't know what Caleb's doing, trying to live in a jungle or something. Anyway, they were cutting coconut. That's us the day we made chicken spaghetti for everyone. Anyway, and then there's Caleb actually spoke on prayer, and you can see him talking to the pastor's conference. So we'll play his 2 videos, and then he's going to speak about those.
So, I have never been out of the country on an international mission trip before. And first of all, I just want to say that it was an extremely, extremely good trip. Like Ray said this morning, just to be able to see the evidence of God's hand through the whole thing and see Him working, it was just extremely good. The two videos that I just showed there, so the first one was from a youth night that they were having there at Rosemary's, and then the second one was a baptism that we were having later in the week there. And just to watch and listen to them sing praises to God, there's just a very sweet spirit there. And just to, I don't know, to be able to go to the opposite side of the world and be able to praise and worship and serve the same God there with brothers and sisters in Christ that you never knew that you had, there's just something really special about that. And so, like I say, that's just a little glimpse of what we were able to see there. There was so many things, or so many different times, like I say, that you could just see God working there through His people, through the things that we were able to do and see, and the work that we were able to accomplish there. But through all of that, to me, it was all just evidence of God's love, just displayed on people. So if you look at the orphanage itself, at the churches there that have been able to be planted from that, every bit of it is just God pouring out His love on people. So obviously it takes obedience from people like Ray and Pastor Steve and all of these others, everybody who's been there. I know a lot of you guys have been. It takes obedience, but at the end of the day, it's God that inspires people to do that. So every bit of it, when you see, what goes on there, when you see all of the good things, all of the, when you see God working, it's all Him. He works through us, but at the end of the day, it's all Him. And so, like I say, to me, being able to go and see that for the first time, that was just what I kept thinking over and over again is, man, God, you are so good. Like when you look at all of the ways, that He's working there, all of the ways that He has shown His love and mercy to people, it's hard to see that and not just think, man, you are so good. Like I say, when I see that, it just reminds me that God sees all of the lost, broken, and hurting people in the world. And like I say, He sends down His love and mercy on them because, especially like the kids that are here at the orphanage, a lot of them come from, just terrible, terrible situations. And you think about God has, through His mercy and through His love, He has given them a home, a family, and brought them to know Him. And something, a verse that kept coming to my mind while we were there, Matthew chapter 3, verse 9, and it's right after that some Pharisees had approached Jesus. He was baptizing, and they had approached Him and were, questioning Him, and He spoke to them and said, "And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father, for I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham." And what God was saying to me through that is that you look at a place that, it's a very poor place in a lot of ways. A lot of these people come from bad situations. God's able to reach down and through His love, bring people into the fold of Israel, bring them into His family. He's able to raise up children to Him from any situation, from any place, any situation, any people. His love is the same no matter where that you go. And it's, like I say, it was really special to me to be able to see that, from the othermost parts of the earth, from the very lowest situations. He's still the same, and He is still able to raise up children to Him. And it's like you see in these videos, and you'll see in the other videos that we'll show and pictures, they know where that they were brought from and where that God has taken them.
Yes, that's right.
And when you watch them and you think, man, they really look like they're worshiping, that's why.
Yeah.
Because they know what God's done for them. They know that all of the goodness in their life is there because that's just His mercy and love poured out on them. And like I say, to think about that He is the same God there that He is here. I know a lot of times it seems like Ray was saying this morning, it's easier to see His hand and see His work when you're there than it is when you come back here. But I think that's really just because that we have a lot more distractions when that we're here. The people over there and us when we're over there, a lot of the things that we think about from day to day are moved out of the way. They're not occupying our minds, our hearts, and you realize that all of this really does come from God, because there's no way that anybody would be able to do all of the work that's being done over here, all of with the orphanage, the churches, all of that, if it was not just simply by His hand, by His provision. So, like I say, as y'all see the rest of this, as y'all see what these others have to say, just keep that in mind, that it is all Him, every bit of it.
Next we have Sir Scott, who made a friend on the boat, a seasick friend, which we were all proud of her. But anyway, there is us. I don't even know where we're at. Oh, we just got off our boat. We had just hit land, so we were extremely happy. For some reason, Carter still got a mask on. Scott got the nice seat of the boat. Anyway, this is us going across the island.
We didn't even have a seat. If you look, we're laying on a wooden box.
Yeah, nice stretched out.
Ray was in the shade taking a nap. We were baking in the tropical sun. It was sacrifice.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I may have sent him. So the He Fat shirt. That's going to be the slogan next year, because Scott wore the He Fat shirt, I don't know, 7 days a week. But other than that, he did wear this one for the conference. All right, brother, go ahead.
It is a privilege to stand up and give you sort of a report about what's going on there in the Philippines. I've got a different perspective, maybe from Caleb. It's his first time. This was my, I think, fourth time to go. And so you wonder, are you making a difference? Caleb may wonder. He had interactions with people, made friends, maybe witnessed. He may wonder, did I really make a difference? If you don't go back, you will wonder, did I make a difference? You don't see this person anymore. Did I change their life? Did I have an impact? I want to tell you, we are having an impact. And when I say we, I mean we who go, but we who serve here, we who pack bags, we who fill fish plates for benefits, we who pray, we who drive us to the airport. We is everyone who has any hand or part. We are making a difference. There's a saying, a story told, and it's about there on the ocean one time, there was a big storm came in that night, and a little boy goes out on the beach that morning, and the beach is just lined with starfish in the sand, as far as you can see. There's thousands of them. And they're laying there and baking in the sun and drying out, and one by one they're slowly dying. And the little boy picks up a starfish and he gently walks it down and puts it in the water. And it kind of perks up and comes back to life. And he goes and he picks up another one and he walks down and he puts it in the water, and it sort of perks up and comes back to life. And there's an old fellow walking down the beach, and he says, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm trying to save these starfish." He said, "You can't save all these. You can't make a difference. There's too many." He picks up the starfish and he walks, he puts it in the water. He said, "Well, I made a difference for that one." And that's kind of how we are there in the Philippines. One at a time. Just that one. Would we go back for one more? All the money, all the effort, all the fatigue, the travel, the pain, and when I say pain, a 16-hour flight turns from tiresome to painful. And that's the truth. Can I get an amen? It really does. Are we making a difference? And so I want to show you, over a series of years now that I've been going, some of those that I encountered back in my first trip and then along the way, but I've encountered them year after year, and I want to show you we are making a difference. I want to start, Nick, if you will put up a young girl named Angel Joy. This was in 2019. I believe it was March of 2019. We were actually doing a pastor's conference. Ray and I had walked up on a mountain. I'm not sure why we decided to do that, but it's overlooking the orphanage. It was a pretty good hike. We're looking down. Some ladies are coming up a caravel. It's like a water buffalo coming up a trail toward us. And their mission was to find us. We had no idea at the time, but they found us, and they told us about a little girl. There's a village between where we were standing, looking down on the orphanage, and there's a village between us and the orphanage. And this little girl had been cooking, and her clothes caught on fire and gotten burned. And they were trying to convey to us that she was burned. Ray said, "How badly?" And they just said, come. And we followed them to their house. And Ray said, "Where is she?" Well, they took her to Ormoc. He said, "Can I see her clothes?" And they did this. Well, what does that mean? And then this teenage girl trying to translate said, "Burned, ashes." Her clothes had burned off her. So this little girl, what was she, 5 at the time, I think? Yeah, young, little. You can see there. She had been in Ormoc about 4 days by herself because her family didn't have money to go to Ormoc. It takes money for transportation. So she's a little girl taken to the hospital, has been in the hospital by herself for about 4 days. We were able to provide money for her mom to go down to the hospital, and then you, me, Ray, all of us, were able to go to the hospital and to buy her medicine, Silvadine and dressings. She had laid there on a mat. The beds don't have sheets. There was 4 people in the room, no air conditioning. The windows were propped open. She's laid there by herself in pain. I mean, she's burned bad, 3rd degree over, I don't know percent, but I would say at least 50% of her body maybe, with no treatment. Because there you have to pay in advance, and they had no money. You have to go to the pharmacy across the street and buy the supplies and bring them, and they will use them on you, but they don't have the supplies at the hospital. So she's laid there for 4 days by herself. We were able to get the supplies, pay for her treatment, leave them money. We went back in October. Too far, Nick, one more backward. That's the way it came. Well, we went in October, and she came into the church service, lives there close, and she found me. Try one more and see if it's that one. Okay, it didn't see him then. No, that's actually from 2022. But anyway, she came into the church service in October and came and sit by me. And I was like, "Oh, it's Angel Joy." Yeah, there it is. She came and found me in the church service and sit by me. And you can't really see, if I zoom in with my phone, you can see she has scars on her chest and on her arms. And then we go back in 2022 of May, last summer, and that's the one where we're sitting there on the little bamboo. Yeah, we went up and did Bible outreach in the village, and Charity, Steve's daughter, was teaching, and there she popped in and looks totally different. She's growing up. And then we're there this time, last week at the pastor's conference. She came down during the church service, and there she is, Angel Joy, and she's just a flourishing little girl, and I dare say she would have died. We made a difference in her life, a big difference in her life. And then there's a lady, her name is Lovely. 2017 medical mission, I wasn't a part of that trip, but Lovely came, and she was very sick. Her vitals were all out of whack. Her blood pressure was low. Her heart was racing. Dr. Reynolds realized she's dying, right? Not sure why, but she is dying right now. They talked her into going to the emergency room. She had no money. She wouldn't go. She said, I can't go. They said, we'll pay for it. We'll take you. We'll call an ambulance. But they took her to the hospital. She had had a miscarriage, had been hemorrhaging for about 2 weeks. I think they said she took 4 units of blood there at the hospital to stabilize her vitals, and then they, did a surgical procedure to correct the problem. But there she is Sunday morning at the church in Ormoc, thriving, doing well. Her family is in the church. She was saved during that time by witness, and that is her little boy now. Since then, she's had a child again, Sean Ray. Not my favorite choice of names, but that's what Dr. Reynolds, Sean Reynolds, and Brother Ray, she named her little boy Sean Ray. We made a difference in the life of Lovely. When I say we all made a difference. Lovely would have died. Sean Ray would not be here had not it been for the packing and the praying and the fish plates and the things that we do. There was a lady in May of 2022. She did not go to church. She lived about a mile from the church in Cacao. She came and was standing outside when we left that church service. She knew there was Americans in the church service. She could not speak to us, but she was showing us she was burned. She knew we would help her. The Americans would help her. That was the only thing on her mind. The Americans will help me. So we found where she lived. We got medication from a pharmacy. That's a story in and of itself, how we got the supplies. You had to have a prescription. But we were able to doctor her wounds. We were able to share the gospel with her. That's Michael, the pastor at the church of Cacao, and shared Jesus with her. And she accepted Christ. And there she was after we had put the dressings and the Silvadine. And there again, her wounds likely would have become infected. She probably would have died. Her back is totally burnt up. Did we make a difference? I wondered and wondered. This is on our trip now. I go to the church in Cacao on Sunday morning, 8 o'clock. She's one of the first to walk in, and she saw me and gave me a big hug. And we affected her life. She accepted Christ. I was like, did she really, though? Did she understand? And here she is. She's as faithful as anybody has ever been in the church of Cacao. So we made a difference in this lady's life. In May, we were on I called it the impossible journey in my journal. We went to Palawan, and this is Pastor Paul. They pronounce it Pool, but it's Paul. He was our guide on Palawan, and he took us up into the mountains and to his home, and that's his home he built, him and his little wife. He's an educated man. He went to seminary, got a degree. His wife went to college in missionary training, and they could have took a church in a city and prospered. He took a church in probably the poorest community we visited. There is nothing up on that mountain. They have no money, no support, but he's there because he felt God leading him to this church. This is his little church. Inside, it would blow your mind. I don't have pictures to show you, but it's just absolutely beautiful, the woodwork that he's done inside that building. But when we asked him what was their greatest need, and they have nothing, what is your greatest need? He said, we don't have a need. I said, but if we could help you, what is your greatest need? He said, our greatest need is water. Our community has no water. There is a river. It was about 3/4 of a mile to a mile walk back down the mountain. It was a muddy river. We crossed it in a truck. Just nasty. I mean, Big Brown Channel is cleaner than this river. In the summer, the river dries up, and they really have a problem. So we asked about water. Could we do a well or something? And he said, well, they think there's no water here to dig a well. But we were able to get funds, provide money. They dug a well, and they sent me pictures of not just water, but I mean, it was weird, like swimming pool clean, clear blue water in that well. It was amazing. They put a pipe in, capped it off, have a pump, and now you can, I met Pastor Poole again. You can scroll forward. He and his wife were able to come to the pastor's conference. We were able to provide money for their plane flight over to Cebu and their boat ride. And they made it to the pastor's conference. They told us that the river has dried up now in the summer dry season, and 100 homes get water from the well, which is conveniently located right by the church. So 100 families are now coming to get water from the, and he said, we thought the well would dry up, but it seems to be endless. Amazing. We've made a difference in their lives. When I was there in 2019, a lady walks in one night. Don't know where she came from, but she had a baby. Do you remember that, Ray? Baby Jake. And it seemed that he was a little different, but it was hard to say. But baby Jake had Down syndrome. And they didn't know if Jake would really live that long. And the lady left Jake and she just disappeared. I don't know where here he is, and she was gone. But Jake in the Philippines would have been an outcast with his disability. He would not have been taken care of. They would have just abandoned him. He would have died. There Jake is doing this. This movement means guapo. Guapo means handsome. And they have taught Jake that he is handsome in that picture. And then you can scroll on. There's Ray holding Jake. Jake become the life of the party. If you've ever been around a Down syndrome child, they are all love. And Jake was all love. Jake was loved by the kids. You didn't have to worry about him where he was. They always had Jake. But Jake, he passed away this summer. 4-year-old. But what a life. I mean, what a life. He would have suffered and died, but he lived the life I can't describe of love with this family at Rosemary's. Now, all the kids were so sad when Jake died. When Jake played with the kids, they all instinctively let Jake win. Jake wanted to be first, always wanted to be first. And in the funeral services, everyone is in all tears, and Steve explains to them, our goal is not here, our goal is heaven. And Jake is first. Jake won. And it kind of became okay with them. We took the kids to Family Day. We took them to an island. People would say, why are you taking these kids and wasting this money taking them to the beach? These are kids. I have always tried to give Anna a summer vacation or family memories, childhood memories, and these are no different. They need childhood memories. There's Steve laid down and let 42 kids pile him up with sand and buried him. Literally, that's the start of this situation. They buried him in sand, and it was all smiles, grins from ear to ear. Roll forward there one. This is Rio. He's got a twin brother, Romnick and Rio. And Rio was having the time of his life. Childhood, an orphan on a postcard perfect island, having the time of his life. Childhood memories. And we made that possible. This is Marvy, an orphan on a postcard tropical island, eating a meal fit for a king. They toted the whole hog, wrapped in cardboard boxes, and took that thing out there along with, I can't describe the ice cream, like it was a cart you would see on the street of New York City with wheels and an umbrella. They loaded it on the boat and took the guy to serve. And they had absolutely the best day ever. And y'all made it possible. We've made a difference in these 11, I'll guarantee you. As these 11 souls stepped down into the pool there at the orphanage and baptized, their profession of faith in Jesus Christ, their lives are changed. There's no doubt. What we're doing is making a difference, one at a time, just one at a time. You're making a difference. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of travel. It's a lot of expense. But one by one by one, these lives are changing. I want to end with reading Matthew chapter 18, verse 12. Jesus says, what do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them goes astray, does he not leave the 99 and go to the mountains to seek the one that is straying? And that's what our mission is in the Philippines. We're going to the mountains and seeking just that one. If it's one more, if we will never reach but one more, I think all of our efforts are worth it. So thank you for your help. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your support and prayers. I explained to them when we're there, we're just the tip of the iceberg. We're the ambassadors, but the support, the work is behind us at home. They see our faces, but they feel your efforts. So that's what keeps me going, is that just one more. Thank you.
So I was the only girl on this trip. Yes, out of these three and one more. So I was, roughing it. But no, it was a very good trip. We had a very, very good team. This was my 4th time going to the Philippines. I have not been since 2018 or 2019, so it's been a little while since I was there, but most of them still remembered me, and Angelica, they were happy. And the main thing that really stood out to me, there's so many things, there's so many stories, and you just will never fully grasp it without having been there. I know it sounds like we're just beating a dead horse here, telling just almost the same things over and over, but it's just hard to explain the spirit that is there. And so I helped with worship while we were there. If we went to a church service or, any type of gathering, they were always like, oh, you have a song prepared. And so, I got to sing with them, and it's just so good. We went to the church in Cacao Sunday morning before the main service. Me and Caleb and Scott and Sonny went to that church service first. And, as soon as you walked in, I think I sent a picture of that one, Nick. Yes. So this is the church there. And as you can see, it's basically just a lean-to, just tin and a little bit of wood up against this house there. But just as soon as I walked in, I was just emotional. I wasn't going to cry, but I always cry. I was just emotional. Just as soon as you walked in, you could just feel such a presence of the Spirit there. And there's just, as you can see, like 20 or 30 people here, but it is just so incredibly genuine, and they are just it's so pure, and they are so authentic, and just genuinely thankful to God for everything that He's done for them. And they know that it is only God. Like, that is the only reason that they have any hope and that they have any chance, just like us. And we're spoiled into thinking that we have all this stuff, and we have this job, and we have a house and our families, and like they said, it's just a distraction, because then we become so dependent on all of that stuff, and none of it matters. And they will show you that none of that matters. Time does not matter to them. If you have a schedule, throw it out the window. They don't care. And like when Scott was out on the boat with them, and he's like, should we get the life jackets out? Like, they don't care. We're just helicopter parents over here, and they let the kids do whatever, and they can. They're so independent, and they're so disciplined, and you don't have to worry about them, because they just have this understanding, and they all just depend on each other, and they trust each other, and it's just, man, it's so good. But so that was the church. I think I have another picture of the worship team there. No. Maybe? No, there's a picture of me with 3 of them on stage, maybe? Okay, maybe he didn't send it. Anyways, the worship team that was there at that church, they sang a song, and some of the lyrics to the song were, "When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know that you are God." And they meant that, like through and through, they meant that. And, you know, we all have storms, but, you know, these people, they have literal storms. I mean, you know, their country is just destroyed regularly by, you know, the typhoons, and you know, they may not have water to drink or food to eat, and they're like, "I will be still and know that you are God," and they're like, they mean that, and they have so much confidence in that, and it's just really cool to watch. But the video that I sent, this was us at the pastor's conference, and I was helping lead worship that day, and Ray he called Bobby Wade and Sheila on FaceTime, and we were able to sing with them and worship with them, and I have a video that someone took, so you can kind of see from my point of view there, singing with them. It's very powerful, just to see a little glimpse of heaven like that. But on another note, they are very, very thankful. They are very grateful. So like Scott said, every person that has give anything, that has done anything, that has prayed for us, it is going to good use. And some of the kids gave their testimonies the first night that we were there. And that was like one of the things that they would talk about was Family Day. And like Scott said, they're getting these core memories as a child. They're getting a memory that is not just my parents abandoned me, or I was looking for food by myself when I was 3 years old. You know, they're getting a different side of that. They're getting a positive childhood memory that they will carry with them forever. So it doesn't go to waste. Anything that you give, they are so appreciative, and they're so grateful, and they are just thankful to be where they are. They're thankful to God for saving them. And so just don't ever think that, you know, I may not ever be able to go and see this in person, but I promise it is making a difference. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that supported us and prayed for us. It was really good, so thank you.
So that was actually, I think, Tuesday, and so I had FaceTime Bob and Sheila, and they were up. I think they were going to the doctor, and I asked them if we could FaceTime and sing a worship song with them, and so anyway, it was just a good time to worship. So obviously we had the baptism there in the waters. Monica's scrolling through those. I'll set up. So when we marched into that village, walked into that village, not march, we had a young man with us. His name is Gerard, And we talked to him about coming in and things of can you walk in here? It's a mile to the jungle, mile out. And he was extremely excited and said, the Lord's work. Yes, it's the Lord's work. And so that's what was brought up. Steve had shared with us he was extremely poor. We passed his house, and it's a little bamboo house. And so that's what spun the idea, well, maybe we could get a motorcycle. And then that turned into 2 motorcycles. And that turned into helping build his house. And that turned into planting a church. And then that come up to the balance of $5,000 that nobody had, an extra $5,000 laying around. And that's when Caleb spoke up and said, hey, I know this sounds strange, but right as we were walking out Friday, someone came in my office and gave me $5,000 and said, hey, use this. Don't use it on the conference. Use it in a need. And so I want to show you, but I want you to listen to this young pastor. He's a graduate of our pastor school. He's a graduate of college. He will be a school teacher, and he's going to go and start pastoring that community. After we build the church, their church is a shade tree right now, but we provided him a motorcycle. He does not know this, so we're tricking him, and we're giving him a motorcycle, but we call him up to help us give this motorcycle away. So this is what that looks like.
What they're getting here. So somebody's going to get the t-shirt, but I want you to put it on so everybody can see what it is, okay? So put it on first.
It's a bigger style.
Yeah, it's your style, but somebody else is going to, put it on. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so I know a lot of people around ride motorcycles, but I know a lot of you don't have helmets. So we're going to give helmet away. So I want you don't have to put it on, just hang on to it, okay? Just hang on to it right there.
Model.
Yeah, model. Yeah, look, turn around, make a slow turn. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. Yeah, side view. Okay, very good. Now, I want to read you one thing. You just hang right there. I want to read you before we give the t-shirt and helmet away. I want to read you one quick thing that goes along with Pastor Ray's sermon. And it's from the book of Isaiah. And the book of Isaiah is a really good book. Sir Scott, wherever he went to, taught about the book of Isaiah yesterday. And one verse in the book of Isaiah says, the Lord looks at us and he says, who should I send? And who will go for us? Right? And you know the answer. The next part says, here am I, send me. And I think that should be all of us in the room answered. God, here am I, send me. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where my family may go or what we may do. And so for my friend here, who is modeling up here for us, Jared, I want you to know, here I am, send me. That's what we hope your example is going to be. Because that t-shirt is yours, that helmet is yours, and that motorcycle.
I thought it's part of the raffle, it's part of, yeah. Can you even say word proper? Because I don't know, I'm feeling nervous right now. Maybe it's a mix of emotion. And first of all, I'd like to thank God for uses all of you. This is just a material thing, but I think this would a big help for.
So he says this is just a material thing, but I thank God because it'll be a big help to me. His father has hurt himself, and so Jared is the breadwinner of their home. He has to do all the work, and he would say that, I have to work for my family, and he works by walking everywhere. So that was the other part of the story. When he said, this is just a material thing, but it will be a big help. I can't, he continues on, he goes on here a minute, but it's just the faith to step out and then to see that will impact him tremendously. I mean tremendously, because he walks everywhere he goes. And these motorcycles are $1,500. It's not a brand new motorcycle, had a few scratches on it. That's the one that Carter wrecked going Sunday. I told him it's got a little character on one side, a few scratches, but he was just so thankful. And I can't tell you what that will do for him and his family. If I saw, there's not a house around here, and I mean not a house around here that looks like his house, which is just bamboo. So we were able to provide him money to build a block house for he and his family. And anyway, he was just a blessing all week to us. So like I said, that's part of you guys, us coming together. And then the rest of my pictures, if I can get through this, this is just some of the things. Chicken spaghetti is, they had chicken spaghetti, chicken feet, and rice was their meal. We provided the chicken spaghetti for them. And I'm talking about everybody got 2 chicken feet. That's right, 2 chicken feet. I didn't put a picture of that on there, but nobody's complaining. Everybody's excited about them boiled chicken feet, except me and Scott and Sonny. We all ate chicken spaghetti there. And that chicken, we went and got at the store. We didn't use the chicken feet chicken. This is, there's us leaving on the boat. We were just headed over, and we'll talk just a little bit about that. And once we get to the island, there's me and Scott and Carter, and then some of the kids just hanging out, and there's the twins. All these pictures of us going over, there's a picture in here you'll eventually see of a storm that hits as us going back. There's one of our youngest children that Scott taught nose, ears. He's a very educated teacher, and he's the boy points. But this, Scott brought up this memory here. It costs more for us to go to a basketball game, playoff games, $15. I had 61 kids, and it was $600 for me to rent 2 boats, buy a pig, buy rice, rent an ice cream stand and the man to go with it, rent 2 buses, and pay an entrance fee to this island. It was $10. It was $600 for 61 people. That's what it cost. So I can take them to a paradise island for $10 a kid. It takes the same amount. I always budget $400 for family day for us to go to a fast food restaurant and to swimming at a resort. So I'm like, it's a couple $100 more. God had given us the money, and I didn't even know this place existed. Like, it's just blue water, and then it turns into emerald water, and you're there. A storm did hit. I sent you one more picture. It's Ruelson. All right, so this is his testimony. I'll struggle through this. Do I have any 5-year-olds in here? Anybody have any 5-year-olds? Oh, all right. So you'll have to put your mind in Asher's time frame, all right? Hello, everyone. So they would get up and share their testimony. Hello, everyone. And I asked, could I take a picture of your testimony? I'm Ruelson. That's him, turning 17 this year. So this is my life story. Looking back my childhood years, I used to live on the street just to find food since my biological mother can't provide my basic needs. I grew up in a broken family. My parents were separated and I was a kid. At the age of 5, I learned to be independent on the streets looking for food. At the age of 5. That'd be Asher wandering the streets looking for food. All right, he says, days passed. He met Pastor Steve. That's why I'm standing here in front of you, thanking my God for allowing me to stay here with you in Rosemary's Home of Hope. I am not lucky, but I'm so blessed because I felt like I am secured now compared to before. No more walking around just to find food to satisfy my stomach. I can eat 3 times a day and more. In other words, I have complete meals being served every day. To Pastor Steve, my house parents, and all the staff and family, thank you so much for taking good care of me and nurturing me to become a better person. To Pastor Ray and the American family, thank you so much for your love and support. No words can describe how thankful I am now. Finally, I found my family and my home. I also thank the Lord for memories and unforgettable experiences here with you at Rosemary's Home of Hope's family. I experienced swimming in the pool, eating at Jollibee's, and receiving gifts, many that I can't mention specifically. I've had lots of great experiences with you to cherish. All I can say, listen to this very carefully, from 5-year-old wandering the street to just finding dead stuff to eat, all I can say is that remembering the past draws me closer to God and gives me a testimony of His faithfulness. I thank my God for using all of you guys as an instrument in my life. What a wonderful journey, knowing I have a family now that I can lean on. Thank you, because I knew Jesus, and He saved me from lots of difficult situations from my childhood years. Thank you, and to God be the glory. And there was 3 that shared their testimony. That was Rue Elson's testimony. That's Rue Elson's there at that island. So we have our college students there. You've heard me talk about Ralph. You'll see Ralph. He takes a selfie. Ralph has my phone. He's the one that's taking pictures on the beach that day. But he's finishing his first year of college. You don't think we're impacting their life? Ralph finishes his first year of college. Him, Wilson, Vixen, and Julian, they graduated Goddard's Christian Academy, our first 4 graduates, and now it costs me $200 a month to get them through college. $100 for their rent and $100 for their food for a month for 4 kids. They live in Ormoc in a little apartment we rent. Wilson and Ralph are going to be police officers or military. They're in criminal justice. And Julian's going to be an English teacher. And Vixen's is in business. But they're super excited, and they would write me letters. Julian said, I would not never let you down for what you've done for me. I promise I'll make you so proud for what I have been given at Rosemary's Home of Hope. She wants to be an English teacher at our school at Goddard's Christian Academy. She wants to come back and work at the orphanage. But Angelica's going to sing. We'll scroll through some pictures, and then we'll close out tonight. There's stories after stories. You saw that little boy. His name was Wilmark. He wrote me a letter and just said, thank you so much for Conongaman Island and how much he enjoyed Family Day. It was 4 hours. Now, you think about your vacation. However, I did like this. Ted, I like this. At Conongaman Island's for rich folks. Like I said, it's $600 for 61 of us to go. And we pulled up, and I'd rented some cabanas for $10 for the whole day because I needed 2 for us to have enough room to serve people. And you could tell they were some wealthy folks in a nice, quiet island watching it. I said, boy, they fixing to get interrupted. When our boats hit, it was like cats. Boom! Ah! I'm like, they ain't staying long. We had kids all over that island running from one end. I said, the rednecks have arrived, boy. Because we stripping off clothes, throwing clothes, eating ice cream around the island. I said, this is the best day of their life. And and it was. Like, who gets to eat unlimited ice cream? Like, every kid got at least 3 ice cream cones. I got 3 ice cream cones. How many did you get there, Slacker? Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. So, I don't know. God had an unlimited supply of ice cream in that bucket because there were 61 of us, and I know everybody got at least 2 to 3 cones. There had to be 180 cones in that bucket. Unreal. I'm like, man, when is this thing going to run out? Like, you go swim, you come eat an ice cream cone. Go swim, come eat an ice cream cone. Go eat pig, come eat an ice cream cone. It was just unlimited. And the guy was happy. He'd never been on an island. So we paid him $60 for him and his ice cream to come and stay the day with us and serve all his ice cream just to us. And he was like, he was taking pictures on the island, He's like, yeah, he was super excited. This is the best day of his life, be ready to go to an island. But anyway, you're going to see some pictures, see some of our things going on, and then we'll close out after she sings.
For I spoke a
Hey, you want to lead? We'll close out tonight here. Please, you can ask and talk to some of our teams. You saw our college students in their little uniforms. They had to go back to school, and we would talk and stuff. But man, it's just so much good stuff. I can't tell you. I thank you for your prayers. I challenged our kids this morning. I said, "When are you going on your first mission trip, Abby?" And she said, "What? What's that?" "Yeah. How about you? And when are you going on your first mission trip?" "Yeah, exactly." And I said, it don't have to be the Philippines. It starts with your school. It starts with your family. It's every day going on a mission. And it's good to have a faith family to come together and encourage every week so that we go out and we be about a mission. So let's stand together. We're going to, this will be sort of our benediction. We sang this, man, it just, it filled the praises of our people while we were at all the East Marietta Baptist churches of Villa Alba, Cacao, Hilo Octagon. This was seemed like to be the song that we would go to. So let's sing it together, church, tonight. Amen. Thank you, church. Man, it's good. Thank you so much for coming You see how God is using you to invest. We've invested over there. The month of April, we will go to Montana. We'll invest in there. And then we have revival here. We will invest in here. The biggest part, without missions, there is no church. And so we are all on a mission. Make sure you do what God's called you to do this week. Be about His work. It's the heartbeat of missions, is our love for Him. So let me get back here to the door. Anybody have anything that they'd like to say? Yes, Marianne. Yes, come on up here, Marianne. Don't stand back there. We got to have a microphone. We're getting recorded here. Rebel? Hey, you can sit back down.
This is so out of my comfort zone. But I am 47 years old, and I have an older brother that I have never met. He got adopted when he was a little boy, and I've never met him. I've never been able to meet his family. He lived in Kansas, and I have another brother that was his whole brother. He was my half-brother. And yesterday I got a phone call from my brother that I do connect with. My brother Richard had been diagnosed with cancer several years ago, but they sent him home last week on hospice and told him he had 4 to 6 weeks to live. He was eaten up with cancer. And so, all my life I've prayed, Lord, let me meet my big brother, because there's 21 of us that we know of, siblings. And so he was one that I had never met, never talked about. He was just he was adopted anyway. Needless to say, for many years I've prayed to meet my big brother. And so yesterday, one of my brothers called me. He had got to go see him at home with his family. And Mike FaceTimed me, and he said, I've got somebody that I want you to meet. And I just began to weep because I'm like, God, you were so good. Prayers for 47 years. I prayed to meet my big brother. And I got to meet him over the phone yesterday. And I left my phone at church. I'm at home this morning. When I got home, I had a message that he had passed away. Me and Becky and Calvin were the 3 that had never met him. And we got to FaceTime him yesterday. All 3 of us met him. And then within 24 hours, he passed away, and he's at the feet.
So as we leave tonight, man, anybody else have anything to say? Someone dying to get up? All right. I'm out of battery there, Stan. But you come on up. I'm just kidding.
Now I'm sitting here. Before I go. Second, I walked in life recovery program 4 years ago. Your Clark carried me to Nashville. That one's God. One's what we're looking for. One soul at a time.
Yeah.
I'm thankful, gang. I had a nephew not long ago said, Stan, you got some awesome friends. I said, God gave you them friends.
Yeah.
That come through God.
Yeah.
I want to thank y'all, church. 4 years ago, first this month, a week now I sat in jail for a week to get help.
Yeah.
To get help. I was safe in that jail to get help.
Yeah.
Thank God He's brought me back.
Amen.
He can bring any of us back.
Yeah.
He can bring anyone back. He brought me back. He can bring anybody back.
Yes, that's right.
Thank y'all.
Amen. Amen. Anybody else?
my Sunday school class this morning that to be back here at East Marietta, the Lord brought us, me and my wife, back here a couple of years ago. And I was raised a pastor's son, but I've never been in a church in my life where I feel like I'm a part of the full work of Christ. The full work of Jesus Christ. And I talked this morning about the first church of Acts and the establishment of the church and why are you here? What is our purpose? And just trying so hard to bring our class around me, the age group that are making the most important decisions of our life. And if we listen to this world about what we're supposed to do, we're going to be so messed up.
Yeah.
Because I've chased all those things, and it took the Lord 30 years to bring me back here, but it feels so much like being exactly where I need to be. It feels so much like home.
Yeah.
And I want to thank every one of y'all for the reception that we got and the way y'all make us feel here. Thank y'all so much for that. That is a blessing to me and my family.
Man. Anybody else? Again, continue to pray for our Philippines. This little battle that we're in over this 6,000 square meters. Pray God will resolve that. Man, I look forward to keep. But also pray for us as a church here. We went back Wednesday night to disciple you. The calendar, I'm working on our church calendar. Man, we got all kind of mission stuff to do. I've got to get up with Doug and Amy. I've got a crew that's wanting to come in and have a youth weekend. I don't know if we're going to coincide that or if I don't know how that'll work out. But we got a lot of fun stuff to do. Candy and I are looking at a study for couples as far as marriages. It's like a 5-week study. And we're trying to figure out what would be the best way to do that. Just all kind of good stuff that God's give us a vision for. I look forward. It's hard to believe that it's been since 2006, but I get excited just to see what God has in store for us every month and look for the unexpected things to do. I know we'll have some things to do. Y'all wholeheartedly took me in during my kidney adoption, and I want to wholeheartedly take Bob and Sheila's next step. They're waiting on Vanderbilt to call. To wholeheartedly take them in and love on them like you guys loved on me and Candy during our time. I don't know what that looks like yet, but as God unfolds those plans, we'll be faithful to do what He's called us to do and step up and help them out. We're still cleaning the Life Center. We'll start mowing the yard, and we'll continue just to do their duties and let them get paid for it and just rotate around and things like that. All right? Do you want to say something, brother? Okay.
I can't begin. I told you before. Anthony ministers to me.
Yes.
When he left here, I didn't know really what was going on. For somebody that don't know how to read music, or to the person in here that don't think they can teach, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And I can't begin to tell y'all how much this guy right here has done for me. When I was at Fairview, I was a brotherhood director. And if you don't have men getting together
and praying and emptying their hearts out. You don't know what you're missing.
Yes.
You guys that don't, as it comes to men's church, we've been challenged to be leaders of our home.
Mhm.
That's a challenge to all men. You young guys out there, you're our future in this church. Your little kids gonna be running around here hollering and carrying on. We need people to step up. And this guy right here, he don't even know it yet. Your family
Yes.
is awesome. My mom died just a couple weeks ago. And this guy right here got me through it with your boy.
Yeah.
It's just one. It was me.
Yeah. Amen. All right. I tell you what. We'll have a benediction in a sort of a non-traditional way. Let's all stand together. Find somebody's neck. Don't shake their hand. Find somebody's neck. Hug their neck. And we'll be dismissed with that benediction. Anthony, y'all play us out, brother.